Hello, everybody. Welcome back to That Proud Black Women Show, where we talk about everything diversity. We talk about confidence. We talk about the BIPOC community and how we are growing and how we move forward in this year, 2022. So, who do I have here today with me? I have the fantastic, the amazing, the beautiful Nkechi Nwafor-Robinson. Drum rolls. How are you doing today?
I am fantastic. I am absolutely even better than I was yesterday. How is
That's
imagine
good.
that? Yes.
That's fantastic. And may I add, you're looking amazing. You're looking really good. So
Thank you.
I
Thank
guess
you.
the week was good.
This is my 50th year of life. I'm gonna look even
Woo!
younger by the time September rolls around. That's my plan. That's my plan. Yes.
Good. That's fantastic. You look younger
Mhm.
than I am. You look 21.
Oh, what? Are you 21?
Yeah.
Wow, you were just a kid. Wow, that's
No, no,
awesome.
I'm not 21. I said you look 21.
Oh, I look 21. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You could have you could be 21. I was like, I believe that. Black don't crack. Black don't crack.
All right. So, everybody, welcome back to the show today. Thank you for staying tuned. I'm sorry that we were like a little bit late. It was due to technical difficulties, and that's why I'm using my phone today. So, you already know what we do, how we mark attendance here. Please leave your name, leave a comment in the comment section. Tell us where are you watching us from. Are you here in Canada? If you're in Canada, what province are you watching us from? If you're outside the country, just let us know. Let's meet and greet one another. All right. So, first question, because a lot of people are wondering who is this person that I have on the show today. And by the way, there's been a lot of prejudice about, oh, you're so prejudiced, you're only bringing only women to your show. And I
Mm.
keep telling them, I'm so sorry, men are not really responding when I reach out to them. But the amazing women, the women that want to empower others, have been actually responding. So
So
I don't know.
men don't respond at all.
They don't they like they don't check their messages or emails and stuff like that, and then they might see it like 2 weeks after.
Oh,
So
I'm gonna
that
have to help you get some men on your show.
please
Yeah,
do, so
yeah.
it
Let's
doesn't look
double
like
down on
because
that.
it's that proud black woman, then only people I bring is women.
Yeah, let's double down on that because they could talk about proud black women in their own environment, like their mothers. Yeah, man. Let's double down on that. I will put some muscle in that for you.
That's good.
Mhm.
So my first question to you is just for you to give us a brief background about yourself. And I know you're the founder of Empowered in My Skin, which, by the way, that name is powerful. Like, just listening to it, you don't want to know anything else than, wow, you have to be empowered in yourself. I was watching a program yesterday, and a lady had mentioned something about, confidence starts from within, right?
Mhm.
So, Empowered in My Skin, how did that initiative come about? And just a brief background about yourself.
Sure. So, which I'm going to start with myself first
Yeah.
because then that will get me to empowered in my skin. So my who am I? Who am I really? Became and what do I want? Those are the two questions that I find I am asking myself every single day. Because I truly believe if you're living in this life, who you are is evolving every single day. And so, who I am really today, wow. I definitely know I'm a manifestation of my name in Nkechi, so God's gift. And I believe that on today, I continue to be gifted with a source of energy that transcends and is unstoppable. And it's constantly replenishing. I truly believe that. I believe that I am gifted to empower. Um, I don't know how, but I recognize that. Sorry, I know how, but I'm saying I don't know how I gained the skill, but it's about the skill of being so present that I'm listening to the thoughts, the things that people are saying about themselves, and the disempowering things are the ones that make me stand up a bit to say, hey, can I offer you another perspective that is just a little bit more empowering, right? And so I truly believe that is my who I am really on today. And what do I want from that is to help, and my vision board says it, to help 1 billion people in this world think in ways that are empowering, because I truly believe that empower people. And so it's about helping more lead dominoes, right? So
Yes.
it's the domino effect of empowerment. And when we can create that domino effect of empowerment from one empowered person to the next empowered person to the next empowered person, we actually create sustainable change. And we can
Exactly.
achieve all of these things that are all good in the world that all of us are speaking on, like your platform and my platform. And but that wasn't always the truth for me. I do believe it's always been God's plan, but it wasn't always my intentional truth. You know, I for much of my life, up to just about 40 something, I was who I am really was defined by what the world prescribed on my human. And when you can give up the notion of external forces prescribing who you are and blaming others for how you're feeling, and really just take up ownership and see, like, become the true CEO of your own life, then that's where that's the depth of empowerment.
Exactly.
And so yeah, I start to really feel empowered. I'll never forget, like, as it started to really grow in me, I felt like I was, oh, someone's listening from Richmond Hill. Hey, shout
Yeah.
out, I'm in Richmond Hill too, Sonia. Let's hook up. Let's hook up. But yeah, I started to feel light, like I was levitating, you know,
Yeah.
and I was like, yeah, I finally feel so good in the skin that I'm in. And it's funny because I do know, as we this year we get into International Women's Day,
Yeah.
it is to break the bias. And I do know that I heard recently that when people think of empowered in my skin, they actually think about brown skin. They think
Yeah.
about dark skin, right? And really, I mean, my skin is dark, but the truth is, unless I'm looking at my reflection or I happen to be staring at my hands, I don't see my skin. So I was just, skin is skin. Skin is actually skin. This white people's skin, black people's skin, same skin, right?
Yeah.
It's the, you know, and so it's the pigment that's different, you know. And
Yeah.
so yeah, empowered in my skin is what I believe is everybody in this world. Doesn't matter what your shade is, it's your birthright. Because think about it, babies are born empowered. You know, and everything that dims our empowerment or a sense of empowerment or our confidence or what we feel about ourselves is learnt.
Yeah.
And so it's about deciding that, you know, to be empowered is going to become my lifestyle. It's my default setting. I'm empowered.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I've actually seen you talk like about 3 times or more. And somebody was just talking about the Canada Vendors event. And truly, you were really, when sometimes people talk and you forget, but with yours, like, it's so difficult. Everybody dropped what they were doing and listen. You really have that command around, like, with people. And which leads me to my next question, which is about why we're having this show today, which is confidence and success. So for
Mhm.
a lot of people, confidence doesn't come naturally, right?
Mhm.
It's a lot of work. Some people, even throughout their lifetime, they never get that confidence. So
Mhm.
for you as a person, what does confidence mean? Like, how do you define confidence? And do you think it has a big impact on being successful, either in your career, in your business, or even in your personal life?
Yeah, so there's people watching, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So my question out to the people that are watching, and put it into the chat wherever you're watching this on. But do Fikemi and I right now, do we look confident? Like,
Exactly.
do you feel confidence coming from this virtual vibe? Like, do you feel confidence? Because let's just say Fikemi and I open up this call, and Fikemi talked about one of the other things. I'm going to give you 10 sorries, Fikemi, for the entire year. Instead of saying sorry for the technical issues, I would have said thank you for the grace.
Okay.
Okay. Sorries tend to be very disempowering. And so use it when you actually truly need to, you know? So, yeah, so she could have come on frazzled and like, and not said, and said, can you hear me? If we're live, could somebody, you know, or we could have just come in quiet, you know? So confidence for me is inaction.
Mm.
So you are assuming that right now, that based on what you are feeling or seeing or experiencing from this experience that Kemi and I are in, that we are confident women. But you have no idea what happened to us before we, like, Kemi obviously was very truthful and very invulnerable in that moment, but that's the confidence. you know, and it's about bringing into every moment and allowing who you are in that moment to be what shows up. Whether you feel you know everything that you need to know in order to, you don't know, right? You don't absolutely know. And what happens though is our confidence then gets overshadowed when we think we should be knowing more than what we actually currently know, or you know, and then you're on shaky ground. But if you come into any moment and say, okay, I'll be honest with you right now, I have nothing to hide. I'm wearing a wig. This is a wig. And I'm going into another event later on this afternoon, and I'm going to be changing my wig to something else. Like, I'm having so much fun. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? Like, so, you know, I have nothing to hide. Okay. Just in case you're thinking this is my real hair. I have nothing to pretend. Okay. I don't know what Fikemi is going to ask me. I don't know how many people are watching this. I don't know what's even coming in the next moment out of my mouth. I have nothing to pretend. I have nothing to protect. What am I protecting? This is my one life. It's a one and done. We don't get a do-over. So I have nothing to protect about my life. I really, truly don't. And I have nothing to defend, to be quite
someone
honest.
Says you look awesome.
Oh, thank you. I have nothing to defend. If you want to come for me, come for me. But I would actually ask you and invite you into conversation. You know what I mean? So nothing to defend. And when you can free up, there's a great pastor, TD Jakes. He always says, loose, you know, when we can loose ourselves from our chains. And again, remember, I told you, babies are actually born into confidence. They're born into love. Confidence, in my opinion, is loving yourself enough to trust that everything you need in a certain moment already lives inside of you. And there's nothing else that you need to get through that moment. And every moment you say the same thing, and then suddenly you're on the other side. Come on, testimony. Everyone that's watching this, tell me that you haven't had an experience where you felt the belly gurgles, you know, you kind of felt nerves and all this and the other. And then suddenly the experience was done. You got through it. You didn't die, you know, exactly. and you feel powerful. Like you're like, oh my God, I did that thing. You know?
Yeah.
It's about trusting yourself based on the history that every single thing that you're getting through or having to go through, you're getting through it. Otherwise you wouldn't be in that new moment. So I think confidence for me is a lifestyle. I don't think it's definitely not something that you put on. You can't, there's no, I mean,
fake it until you make it.
I say face it until you make it versus fake it until you make it, because I don't think you should be faking anything. You should show up and be okay to say, you know what, I don't know this information, but I'm the master at research. I will get you that answer soon. You know what I mean? Or trust. There's a great, I don't know if Fumi is watching, but she can tell you, we went through this Bible plan this week, and it was about dealing with uncertainty. And I would say, forget about COVID. Life is uncertain. Tomorrow is like a morning fog. Every single moment it starts to clear more and more, right? So just deal with the present, because everything else is uncertain, you know? And so, but it talked about how you acknowledge your limitations. And that was one of the biggest learnings for me, because when you acknowledge your limitations, it now becomes an invitation to collaborate with somebody else to help fill that gap. It's powerful, you know, versus you acknowledge your limitation, or you ignore your limitation, or you're not aware of your limitation and you're still trying to stumble around through. But it's allowing yourself to say, I don't know it, but I believe and trust that I have a good environment around me that can catch me. Like, it's so confidence is a lifestyle. It's about picking up nuggets, you know, as you traverse life. You know, life is transient. So as you go through life and you pick up knowledge and you pick up experiences and you learn from others and you share and you get and you give and you teach, you know, it's about you start to become, you start to like realize, yeah, man, I don't have to give up on myself in the moment, you know?
Yeah. And I believe from what you're saying, environment matters as well. Like the kind of people you surround yourself with, because a lot of times when you have people that are pessimists around you, they keep telling you can't do it. You know, I tried it myself. I couldn't make it in 3 years. So what makes you think? So sometimes no matter how strong you are, those things can start to bring in your mindset, right? And confidence starts from your mindset. Like somebody said, confidence is an inside job. So for a lot
Oh,
of
I like
people,
that.
for a lot of people that, maybe growing up, their upbringing, has been corrupted by racism or by imposter syndrome, or whatever kind of upbringing they came up with. How do you suppose that they can navigate out of that trauma into confidence?
Oh my gosh. So first of all, shameless plug. I have a podcast. It's called Empowered in My Skin.
Yeah.
And I actually know this because I think I saw a name flash quickly, Daniela, because yesterday I was telling her about this episode. It's called There's Nothing Imposter About You. And so I've had an amazing journey with imposter syndrome in 2020. I started off the year believing about imposter syndrome, and I had a podcast episode that was all around debunking imposter syndrome. How do we, what are some tools and things that we can use to navigate through and get through blah, blah, blah. Then later on, I had this amazing thought leader friend, sister friend on the show, and she talked about imposter moments. Right? Because, and then that elevated my game, because syndrome feels like this long, like big, expansive period of time. Whereas imposter moments it's about bringing awareness that in this moment. Right. And it could be a second moment. It could be a 5-minute moment. It could be, but you recognize that this too shall pass, that it's temporary, that it's not here to last. I'm not feeling 100% sure about myself, and I'm aware. And now I'm aware. And so I was at that point in time where I was like, okay, when I feel that way, the best thing to do is get still and receive, because I believe there's an ever-present loving energy around us to support us, right? And receive whatever is coming, and then continue to move forward. But it's that if you don't take that second to get still, then you continue to just be frazzled, and you're not getting the clarity to be able to get to that. So that's where I was mid-year. And then I stepped into this new role at my workplace, and this Shiro, who oh my gosh, she's just such a powerful human. And I remember we were talking about the role that I was taking on, and she said, you know what? She sent me a text afterwards, and she says, there is nothing, in capital letters, there's nothing imposter about you. Woo! And then I went to she's right. There's absolutely nothing imposter about you. You are not a mistake. You are not a mistake. You are not implanted in this earth by error. Everything about you is certain. There is a gift inside of you that if you do not maximize it or share it or release it, the world is missing something. And when you can lock into that everything about who you are is needed in this world, you walk away from that thought of imposter. Instead of thinking about imposter, when you are in those moments where you're feeling like, should I be here? Recognize it as a learning opportunity. You're in a space where there might be something you don't know. So open yourself up to learn. Open yourself up to understand, what is the environment? What is it saying? Who's around? How can I network? Like, there's so many different things that we can go to that are empowering than thinking that we don't belong there. You belong everywhere you find you're human, period. Full stop. There's nothing imposter about you. In fact, I came up with this mantra. I will say, can I share my mantra? I said, when you live in, when you can forego having an imposter syndrome, this is what you could say. This is the season. Whatever day it is, this is the season. This is the stage. You're on it. Claim it. Own it. Thrive through it. Move to it. Take action. Don't stop. Don't drop your mic. Don't lose your voice. Keep on pressing forward. You've got this, sis.
That's powerful. Wow. Okay. I'm gonna go back, watch this video, and write it all down. So because
I will send it to you. I'll send it to you.
Oh, that would be fantastic. And somebody just said, so powerful and eloquently said. And that's true, because that's my next question. Still on the topic of confidence. So for a lot of people, as I said earlier, it doesn't come natural, and it takes a whole lot. Everybody deals with different a lot of things. We don't know what trauma people have gone through. We don't know what their upbringing was like. We don't know all of that. But for you, you're so your presence is empowering. when you talk so eloquently, like you command, people to wait and listen, drop whatever they are doing, listen. And also, you also leave a lasting impression on people. So how did you come about that sort of confidence? Like, did it come naturally? Did you have to, learn a couple of skills? Was it life experience? What is it that made you think, you know what, I've got this, I can empower people and I can be a public speaker and make a difference in people's lives?
So, I mean, I don't know who all's listening, but I can only share my truth and then leave you to figure out what to do with it. That's just God. And I will be honest with you, whatever God has implanted in me to get there, he's implanted in every single soul. Every 7.5 billion people in this world have the opportunity to recognize that they're a gift to this world, that they have a combination of unique gifts and skills that's only theirs. And that's just what it was, is that I believe that what is said about my life, my eyes will see what is said about my life. It will come to see, but it means that I need to continue to do the work. And so I truly believe that because confidence is a lifestyle, the question I'd have for everybody is, then what are you doing every single day to nurture the lifestyle? What do your habits look like? You mentioned environment. What does your environment look like? Is it one that is building your confidence, or is it one that's tearing you down? There's the law of gravity says that whatever goes up must come down. Mm-hmm. And I truly believe that if you have this up and down with confidence, then there's a law that you need to break. You need to break that law that keeps pulling you down. And you can only do that if you do the work every single day, if you're aware of how you're showing up and how you're feeling in certain moments. Because here's what I would say to you is, like, in the good, we are just blah, blah, blah. We're going, and this too shall pass. And then suddenly you're in the bad. And it's when you're in the valley, I call it the valley. When you're in the valley, right? That's not the time to start to go and Google, how do I get more confidence?
Dr. Google.
That doesn't work. But when things are great, when you're feeling the vibe, you have to recognize that this too shall pass. And so in order to be able to be prepared, that's where you prepare when you are in those moments where you have clarity, where you're vibing, where you feel you're thriving. You prepare because you have to know that this too shall pass. And so you feed yourself every single day. You put things into your toolkit so that when those moments come, it just activates because it connects with what is needed in that moment. And I'll share a real story. I don't know if I was on another meeting, so all of this stuff is becoming a blur before I joined you. So I might not have said much. But I had a COVID scare last year. And not to belabor, but it landed me in the hospital. I was on oxygen and I had to go through the steroid treatment for 5 days. And I remember the first night I was very, very scared. And you're isolated, and anyone that comes around you looks like they're freaking Martians, right? Because they're in the hazmat suits and stuff like that. So you feel very, it could be a very lonely experience, And what happened was, the next morning when my eyes opened, the activation kicked off automatically, because I have this muscle of habit. When my eyes open, they open to gratitude. They open to God. And I did what I do even when I'm well and not in the hospital. I said, God, let's talk, and my conversation with God in that particular moment was to serve the space that I was occupying, which is, if I am to get through this better, not bitter, I need a sign. Give me a sign. And then that's it. You get still, because a lot of times we pray and we keep moving. We don't wait.
Exactly.
We don't hear to hear, wait to roll. And his response came, I kid you not, Kimmy, meant to come if 2 hours later, if that much time. This admin bounced into my hospital room and she says, hey, we're going to transfer you to Cortalucci Hospital, which is this $1.4 billion hospital in Vaughan, Ontario. It's state of the art. It's brand new. I was the first person in my hospital room there. I should have put was here, right, before I left. And I just knew in that moment that God had just answered my question. So I knew I was going to be okay. So then I could rest the fear. And then I'm like, okay, what do I now do since I'm here? And I recognize that my unique gift and skill and talents and abilities is around energizing and empowering people. And who has needed the most amount of energizing and empowerment than frontline workers, than the nurses and the orderlies and the doctors. And I was perfectly positioned. I had nowhere to go. You know, then my hospital bed, then every single time they came into my room to energize them, to give them life, to feed them, to nurture them, to make them hype, you know what I mean? And to the point where they were expressing like, we come to you so you give us energy to go and deal with all the other miserable people. And if that is the only reason that God said, I need to give you a timeout because I need you to go and do some work for me here, then it was well worth it. I wouldn't choose it, but I wouldn't change it.
Exactly. So Latoya Belford is asking a question. She said, what is your perspective on this reel that has been circulating with Rihanna answering a question? And what does she do on the days that she doesn't feel confident? And she says she fix it.
Yeah, but I mean, if that's what I would say, that Rihanna's powerful, right? Like I can't, that's how she deals with it. I would say that I don't fake it, I faith it, you know? So, and maybe if she and I would get into conversation, it probably would match up to the same. But I do recognize that there's a lot of people that do it. And I actually would say that if it gets her through, then it's a technique that you should try. You know,
exactly.
if you can't fake
At the end
it,
of the day,
if you
I
can't
believe
fake it,
for
yeah.
for people, I think you have to. A lot of people get nervous for
Mhm.
any, so it doesn't mean you're losing confidence. You're nervous, so you have to acknowledge that feeling that you're having, because if you don't acknowledge it, then you can't address it, right?
Mhm.
So if you acknowledge that feeling and you already know, okay, before an interview or before I start a new business, I get
Mhm.
really nervous. Then you
Mhm.
can, once you acknowledge that, you know, okay, this is what I can do. Maybe I can exercise. Maybe I can take a breather. Maybe I need to breathe in the bag. Maybe I need to
Mhm.
sit down and pray. So you'll be able to know what to do. So at that, so you don't get overpowered by that emotion that you're feeling. That, so for me, there's sometimes that I have interviews, and I'll be thinking last minute before that, I'll be thinking, should I cancel? Should I? Because I'm so nervous. Or
Mhm.
I'll be thinking maybe I should turn off my internet while I'm talking, because maybe there are like 5 people interviewing at the same time. Like, I'm so concerned. But at the end of the day, when I leave and I'm done with it, I feel way better. And I'm like, okay, so why exactly was I nervous? So for so many people, it's so difficult for them to, you know, get out of that nervous stage, and that confidence begins to dip based on that. So with that situation, how do you say that we can, if we can, what's it called? We can overcome that challenge, you know, of especially that nerves.
So let me ask you a question then. In that scenario that you just eloquently expressed to us. So thank you for sharing. Was it confidence or was it courage?
Yeah. I think so. The line is kind of it's like there's a thing, like, because sometimes it's, you don't know, is it confidence that, because sometimes you know what you want to say, but you're scared that what if they ask me something that I don't know, or what if they ask me, or what if they don't like me, or things like that. So it's
So I think that what I got from what you just expressed was that courage carried you through.
mm-hmm.
Because in that moment, you couldn't shut down your internet. You couldn't walk away because there's 5 people there. You know, you had to believe that you can press forward, and that's courage. So I think that confidence isn't the absence of fear. I think, or nervousness. I think confidence is courage um taking the seat, taking the driver's seat.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, I think actually courage is more powerful than confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Golden nugget.
Because I would say that confidence is what people see. Courage is what you do, right? It's how you decide to move
To
through
move
whatever it
forward.
is that you're moving through. And then people see that as confidence. So I would say don't look for your confidence. I would say find your courage and allow courage to carry you.
Ooh, I'm going to write that down too.
I don't even know
that,
what I just made it scary. Yeah,
that
but
is
I
so
do.
powerful.
I think courage is more powerful
Courage
than
is more
confidence.
powerful. Yeah, that's good. Okay, now I know we're getting a little bit past the time, but I just wanted to put this out there. You're a very strong Black woman. You have your business. I know your husband has a business. You're a professional bodybuilder. Whoop! And then you're at the top of your career where you work. How do you manage all of this in the face of racism, in the face of sexism, lack of inclusion? The list goes on. How do you like still manage to be successful and don't look at all of that, or bypass all that racism out there? And
Yeah, so I'm gonna just one thing I'm gonna just ask for grace to change up perspective.
Mhm.
I just happen to be Black. I am a amazing human, right? And everything else was happenstance. You know, I don't put myself into the box of strong Black woman. Even no, I'm actually I'm a strong woman.
Woman.
Yeah, who happens to be Black. Yeah. And Black is one of my superpowers, so it's one of the greatest gifts that I've been given, so yeah, so I think that how I do it all. Yeah, that's what you want me to answer. I don't know that I'm doing it all. Honestly, I don't know. I would say that my biggest desire is to leave nothing unturned. I truly, I don't want my last day and I'm walking through the gates and I see this laundry list of stuff that I didn't do, you know, and I want to be at the gate and they're going through the checklist and they get to the bottom of everything I was supposed to do, and there's more that they added, right? That's the kind of life I'd love to live. And so, I mentioned it on another call. It's you don't know when your day is there. This is it. We don't get any do-overs, and so stop waiting. And that's just what people see is I'm not waiting. If I don't know how to do something, I approach it with courage. I mean, I think about, I'm going to be launching a new podcast. It's after my other love, which is women in tech, so I know that people are going to be like, and you have two podcasts? Like, how are you doing? And I'm just like, and I think I was sharing earlier. I think when you can acknowledge your limitations, you invite collaboration. My podcast, I don't do them by myself, right? Like, people have been drawn to the energy of it, and they've reached out to say, how can I help? And so I'm like, oh, I'm learning to accept help. And that's what enables me to move even further. And so I would say that whatever it is that you want to do in life, just do it. Add more commas behind your name. Don't ever put a full stop. You know what I mean? Like, and maximize your potential. This is it. No do-over. So stop waiting. Stop waiting, because the only moment that is certain is the one that you're currently in, breathing.
Okay, so thank you for that. But I don't know if you have time to respond to this question by Sonia Gordon. She said,
Mm-hmm.
yesterday someone said to me that she has never seen a Black leader, not even worked for a Black person. How do we ensure that BIPOC are given opportunities to lead?
Well, that one's interesting. So I would say that the person that that has that experience, she should ask. So that's how you be an ally, So she should ask the environment that she's in to say, yeah, like,
What's
where's the
going on?
melanin? Yeah, here's the dark skin, and she should be an advocate. She'd be like, you know what, I believe that I can learn a lot from having a diverse leader, that kind of stuff. But that's one. But I think, it really does require everybody looking around and being truly honest about what they see, and I would say that the other thing too, it's recognizing that there's enough land space, there's enough earth space, there's enough opportunity for everyone. Because I think that when we when we get stuck behind limited ideals and limited ideas and limited like that's where that's and you're thinking that you need to you need to hoard it instead of share it. That's very limited, you know. So it's going to continue to take work. But I think on both fronts, it's you know, our BIPOC humans believing that you are as good or if not better, you know, and not even better than other humans, but you're just better than you were yesterday. Like, so continue working on yourself, that you're better than any thought that you think is possible for yourself. You're even better than that, and walk with that level of faith. And I think it takes for people that are in positions of power, you know, and to ask yourself, is the system that surrounds me, is it fair? And is it fair for all? And if it isn't, then what can you do with your power to create massive change? And back to what I said earlier, empower people, empower people. And so it's those people in those big seats of empowerment that can write those big checks that say, how can I be a lead domino in all areas of you know, of the spaces I occupy? If I'm running an organization, how can every area of my organization be a lead domino for empowerment and making sure that nobody's left behind, you know? And I'll be honest with you, until your personal environment reflects what the world looks like, then we will still be having this conversation about the challenge with BIPOCs from time.
That's true.
Everybody needs to recognize that it starts from within. What was it that you said? The inner confidence?
Oh yeah, it starts from what's it called? It's
inside job.
An inside job. It's an
Yes.
inside job.
Having an inclusive and diverse world, it's an inside job.
Yeah.
It's an inside job. Mm-hmm. You know, I always say there's big corporations, right? Big corporations that talk about doing diversity and inclusion, because you see it on the outside. So it's like they strategically arrange the furniture so that it looks like they're doing diversity and inclusion. And then you get inside and it's like,
yeah, that
the base of your organization is diverse, but it thins out, you know? Yeah. So it's an inside job. You know, one last thing before I know we'll stop. You know, I think about, and everyone can do this for themselves, me included, right? Like, I ask myself, if I were to throw a party today, when I look at my phone, is it diverse? But it is. I mean, my diversity happened the other way. I grew up with a lot of white people, and then I had to recognize that all I had was white people around me. And so I needed to add, you know, and so, yeah, I'm very fortunate that I've worked in, you know, around all different types of cultures, and I've been able to attract a diverse energy around me, which I love, you know. But here's the thing, like, when our parents ages ago, so I mentioned, like, you know, when my parents and generations back would go to the doctor's office, you know, if they came in and they said, oh, my shoulder's hurting, or my leg is hurting, or my head hurts, back then they used to just treat the symptom. Now I know, because I literally just happened to me. You walk into a doctor's office and there's, like, you know, they give you what's called the clipboard, and there's all these forms, and they're like, you know, can you go through these forms and then sign at the, and you're going through, do I have history of this, the history of that, history of this, do you have this, you know, like, you have to check all this, any other, blah, blah, blah. And the reason why is because before they can treat the symptom, they have to understand the history.
Yeah. The root cause.
And so if you're in a position where you have the opportunity to change the landscape of what diversity and inclusion looks around you, it has to start with you. What is your history? What was it like when you're growing up? What was the conversation at dinner tables? When you saw a Black person on TV, did you flip the station or did you stay and watch? You know what I mean? Like, did you buy Black music? Or, you know, and it could be any culture, whatever it is. Like, what kind of conversation? How did you grow up? What is instilled in you? And what biases do you need to break? You know? And so it starts with all of us individually to create massive change in this world.
That was fantastic. And just to add, which is why the theme of this season is called Moving Forward. So rather than looking at those staying in the past, oh yeah, there's racism, yes, there's not lack of inclusion. What are we doing to push ourselves forward, to move the needle forward in our, like, if you're saying that you haven't seen any Black leader, you're a Black person. How about you becoming a leader? So where I used to work a couple of years ago, I had that same conversation with my vice president. I said, you know what? In this office, I'm the only Black person. What's going on? How come there's no other, anytime there's a new inside role, how come you're not giving it to other Black people? And then most of the Black people and Sri Lankans and Indian people are on the floor. So he said, well, unfortunately, it's not like I don't want to hire people, but nobody actually applies for these positions that are Black. So whatever resume I have, that's what I and I'm in my mind, I'm thinking, yeah, right. That's just a lie. So I kept pushing and pushing, and then 2 opportunities came up, and then they listened to me and put that job to people on the floor first. Nobody applied. I was so disappointed. Nobody applied because they already have that mindset that
they're not good enough.
It's just a charade. They're not going to, So I'm like, still hold them to their words. Put in the application, and then if they don't hire you, then you have something to say that, well, we applied, rather than you didn't apply, and then they get the word. So it's another thing that you have to work on yourself. If you're not seeing leaders, how about you becoming a leader yourself?
Yeah.
Apply for those C-suite positions. Like, apply. Try to build yourself as a leader so that when people see you do it, then other people coming behind will see you as an inspiration, be empowered to also do it as well. So that's my take on that. If you're not seeing people, you're Black, you're not seeing Black leaders. First of all, you're not looking enough. Second of all, it's your mindset, and you have to work on it. Third is work on yourself.
Yeah.
What's holding you back from being a leader?
Yeah.
And leadership doesn't mean you have to be the president. It could be in your little community. It could be in your classroom, being the president of some association. Start from somewhere.
That's right.
That's my take on that.
You're touched.
This has been so fantastic.
You're touched. Can I say that I love the whole moving forward? And as a parting message for everybody, I think, take that in. And what I challenge everyone that's listening to this is there's some nugget that must have tickled you today. The question is, does it become part of your toolkit? Or are you just going to brush it aside, and an hour from now, you won't even remember what was said on this call? It's like, we have to stop showing up in spaces, or your time is valuable. We cannot give you back the time that you have just, expended here watching us. But what we can give you is the gift of something that you've learned to make yourselves better, right? By sharing from our experiences, right? That's the gift that we give you. The question is, are you going to take it and now include it as part of your lifestyle? Moving forward is so key, because time does not work backwards. Time works forwards, which is why I love that theme of moving forward. Everything amazing is in front of you. It's not behind you. It's in front of you. Your past just informs you, but you have to forget that which is behind you and move towards everything that's in front of you. So move forward. Stop the whole, I want to get back to normal. No, there is not. Move forward. I want to get back to the gym. No, move forward to the gym. Move forward. Think forward, think higher, think better.
That's fantastic. That's powerful. And this has been so amazing. I can't believe it's been almost 45 minutes. I thank you that I called on you and you showed up. I was so, like, when I messaged you, I was like, okay, let me message. Maybe the time might not be good. But then you said, oh, yeah, that's perfect timing. And I was so happy about that. And I'm happy that you're here today. And all the golden nuggets, believe me, I'm going to be taking notes and I'm going to apply it to myself, because the thing is, this is not just for people watching, it's for me as well. Because a lot of times I go back when I'm in a situation, I go back to listen to previous shows and I'm like, ooh, that's cool. And I would write it down and I would make that a part of me. So it's not just by listening, it's about using this to empower yourself. Don't just listen and move forward. Okay, what's the next? Then you go to different call and keep going. No, you have to apply them. Even if it's just one thing that you learned today, use it for yourself and let's see the change. Let's hear the testimony in the next season. Amen. Or something, right?
Amen.
All right.
Amen.
Thank you so much, everyone. I really appreciate your time. And that will be it from us today. Have a lovely weekend.